That's awesome. All right, everyone, welcome to IoT Coffee Talk. Me and the ultimate legend of IoT, Mr. Brummer, you're here.
That was great.
Wow.
What's going on with your hat there, bud? What are you just coming off the farm?
I was wearing it yesterday when we did that re-recording for the Summit of Things. And the reason for that, I was doing the last session at the end of the day where we talked about the future of IoT, but my partner in crime on there, David, he works at Turbine in Las Vegas doing the smart city stuff. He had a Buzz Lightyear thing. And I was like, well, gosh, maybe I could be Woody to your Buzz Lightyear. And so I wore this cowboy hat while we did that recording with Tiffany. And anyway, it was just still sitting here on the desk. And I figured, what the heck,
That's right. Good job.
Save a horse, ride a cowboy.
With sensors.
With sensors. Exactly. Please. Lots of sensors. You no longer need to ride the horse out to the pasture to find out what's going on with the cattle.
That's right. We went GPS oriented cattle. That's
absolutely. Mm-hmm. So what is going on in Lambo land? Wow.
You know what? It doesn't happen often where you have a Sunday night game and a Thursday night game. So my buddy lives here across the street from the stadium, and we'll work anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So no one cares where you are. So I decided to ditch the hurricane last week and come here. So I'm a glutton for global warming.
Yes.
So I'm coming up here to freeze my ass off for a week.
I love it. That's awesome.
We have a game tomorrow night, and then I'll get out of here.
That's exciting. Everybody should make the pilgrimage to at least once to watch a game at Lambeau Field. That is kind of like the shrine of football, isn't it?
Right. It is. It's freaking awesome. And, it's a whole different kind of group of people and totally different kind of approach to everything. And it's just a wonderful place to be.
And they're all owners of the team, right?
Correct. Exactly. And then you'll love this, and I think the audience will love this. I hope it gets back to this dude, but the cellular coverage and 5G coverage and Wi-Fi coverage in your seats at the stadium are horrible experience. And so of course, Rob, you'll appreciate this. Of course, the first thing I did on Monday morning was pick up the freaking phone and call the CIO of the Green Bay Packers and said, "Hey, my name is Steve Brummer. I'm with the BH IoT Group, and I would love to talk to you about this. I'm staying across the street if you'd like to get together." I was really surprised, when you consider it. But, listen, it's still an amazing open opportunity with these stadiums of having a better, sense of coverage and video scenarios and things like that. So, who the hell knows? I mean, you know me. I just do.
No, you're the ultimate salesman on the planet. We can all learn from you big time.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's interesting you say that, though. If you'll remember, right before we all got locked down in COVID, as part of the early days of the 5G rollout, Verizon specifically decided to put millimeter wave in, I thought, all of the NFL football stadiums around the country. Maybe not all.
I know they started down at Hard Rock Stadium down in Fort Lauderdale in that area, but I don't know if they got to everything. I didn't know if that was part of their contract, but I can assure you that, me being on T-Mobile and my buddy being on AT&T, it just was freaking horrible. I mean, just spinning and not being able to get any kind of videos or replays or anything else. So I'm assuming that it's just, there's no MEX, there's no 5G CBRS in the stadium, and they just, they're praying for the outdoor, the outside macro sites to be able to cover.
Right. Everybody just hold up your phone.
78,000 people holding up their phone at the same time. You wonder why.
You know what? I did have a great football experience at Lambeau Field. My wife and I went there, 2008, 9, I don't remember what it was. Anyway, to see the Seahawks in the playoffs playing against the Packers. So it was the year after the first time that Seahawks were in the Super Bowl when they lost to the Steelers. back when they had Matt Hasselbeck playing quarterback and Sean Alexander is the running back. This is all important to our viewers, of course.
Yes, of course it is, because it covers everything IoT.
Well, some things are more important than others. But if you're in America, it's football, baby.
Right.
And so it was great. I was thrilled to go there, and but what made it even better is that we had a whiteout blizzard during the game.
Perfect.
Which made it even better. It's like when you watch those old NFL films, I feel like they purposely make the films look even older than they are. And they play that, dun, 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 and like they always show the ice bowl and stuff like that. And so first half, Seahawks are just lighting them up, and I was like, this is awesome. And of course, we're wearing our Seahawks gear and everybody else is obviously not.
Ingrained.
Yeah. And then it started to snow towards the end of the first half, and then it just started turning into a total whiteout blizzard. And then it'll look like they had Zambonis almost on the football field at halftime, trying to get the snow off the field. And then the second half came along, and who was still their quarterback? Brett Favre. And guess what? He started doing his bizarre magic stuff that he's always been known for over the years. And of course, throwing the football started to get hard. and yes, sadly, he brought them back and they won. But what an experience. And everybody's standing almost the whole time, but you can't stand just facing the field. You have to stand kind of like this. I'm not going to go into why that is.
Well, I can tell you why, because if your tush is too big, you can't fit.
I don't want to offend any of those big farm boys in northern Wisconsin, but they were the nicest people in the world, actually. Even though we're wearing our gear, they were so friendly.
And we had 2 inches of puff on the overalls that they were wearing.
Oh yeah, I know if it had been us and we were like in Oakland watching the Raiders, they would have beaten the hell out of us or something like that. But they're nice in Green Bay. Hey, Bill.
We definitely abused the Cowboy fans on Sunday. I can tell you that. How about those Cowboys?
How about those Cowboys?
Hey.
Loser.
Hey. You know what? I can't. Here's the thing. This is the thing that pissed me off about that. Why did he get away from what was working? We were running the ball. Green Bay has no run defense. No run defense. You run the ball against Green Bay.
Blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
You're
right.
But there's nothing. There's nothing else I can say.
Do you feel like sometimes these coaches get a little too cute or big for their britches, or they feel like they must put in something new to make it seem like they're adding value to the game?
I don't think it was McCarthy. It was 100% the suspect, Kellen Moore.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
It was him. Suspect. He is suspect as hell. There's not a damn thing he does that makes me think he knows what the hell he's doing.
Oh my God.
It's like basketball. Sometimes you're just in a streak during the game, and it's just let him go. Let him go. And of course, the other team needs to call timeout to shut him down. And so you're right. When you see something working, just hands off. Let it go.
Keep doing it until they stop it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And what a great tie-in to the Internet of Things. Keep doing it until they stop it. I think that's a good tie-in to IBM shutting down their Watson IoT platform. Keep doing it until they stop it.
That's it.
But it's interesting. You got a Google and an IBM all within a couple of months of each other. What kind of trend is this telling the industry?
I know.
That they over-marketed and under-delivered?
Could be. Yeah. You know what? I didn't hear a lot of IoT marketing, to be honest with you, from IBM.
No.
I did.
You did?
I did. Oh my goodness. They marketed the hell out of Watson and their Blue Mix, redo and all of that. Yeah, no, they were marketing the hell out of that. And they talked about Watson as being an AI solution or product, if you will. It's nothing more than natural language processing, period.
I do remember when we found out about Watson.
That and the idea, Bill, when they bought the Weather Channel and started adding more data into Watson itself and looked at it as a subscription model, but it really didn't include anything around the IoT side. And,
no.
And if you look at the IBM IoT group itself, I mean, what the hell do they sell? I mean,
yeah,
I don't think you and I have seen them aggressively in any major IoT deal. I've never seen them.
No.
Marketing, yes. Sales, closing deals, I don't know what the hell they do.
No, and that's why I said they over marketed and under delivered.
Bill,
they didn't know.
You said that early word when they first launched. It was called Blue Mix.
That's right.
Way back when. In fact, we could consider them early. They were certainly before the other hyperscalers in having a cloud platform. I remember Blue Mix. I think they'd kind of shoehorn Node-RED in there and threw the kitchen sink at it. And it was Blue Mix for a while. And you're right, they kind of pushed that for a while because I remember we're actively developing Azure IoT while I'm watching the news about Blue Mix already being out. And I know we were at Microsoft were feeling really late to the game. Of course, everybody was late to the game. PTC was the first one out there. And so, and I thought, wow, they're a leader. Blue Mix is the leader, or one of them.
Yeah, but I wonder if this feels like a trend now where, the 615 different platforms and I love that, that number from last week we were talking about.
Yeah.
I think, is this the either you get on the bandwagon and consolidate or you drop off because you don't have enough revenue generated? I think maybe this is a turn of the platform scenario.
Yeah, you're right. I'm already having analyst friends, which we have too many of those friends, already reaching out like, what's going on? You need to write a paper. You need I'm just like, tell us the trend. Well, I thought everything was great.
Send me a check and I'll tell you the trend.
Exactly.
It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. I think this is probably like we're at the point where I'm at my own inflection point. So when I think Leonard put a post up on LinkedIn, and I was like, look, can we I'm openly inviting people, practitioners, if you have built a digital twin and deployed it, let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk, because not everything is a digital twin. Just because you've got a 3D model does not make it a digital twin. Just because you're using data sets does not make it a digital twin. If you are using real-time data and you are delivering real-time insights and you are visualizing that data, now I think we can talk about it being a digital twin.
There you go. Bill Pugh's litmus test for digital twin.
It's not wrong.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what market you're in, right? It doesn't matter if you're in, manufacturing. Then still, you should be taking HMI. All of this data that's there, and you should be pumping it into a model that is taking in other data sets and other data streams, and telling you that, oh, you have an anomaly here. There's something that went wrong here. There's, and then now you can start talking about, that baseline turning into something that is going to start predicting things for you and stopping things before you have a major catastrophe.
Is there an independent third-party business opportunity there?
Could be.
Absolutely.
Could be. Yeah. We're all about third-party business opportunities right here on IoT Coffee Talk.
especially if there's a piece of the action for the amigos.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Because that's what we're all about. Getting the three amigos here with a piece of the action. We're all in with that stuff. Absolutely. I did think about this a bit. Not too much with IBM shutting down and Google. Now, obviously, the quick thing many of us who are in this space can say is neither of them were ever significant players at all. Right. And so it's like big deal. But that being said, and I'm not going to, and somebody commented on my little deal on LinkedIn. It's like, oh, well, I guess the other remaining two hyperscalers own the market or something like that. I'm not going to make any deep comments or anything, but not all is well with those supposed winners either. After massive investment, they just can hide the fact that things aren't working out because they have unlimited money. And but trust me, underneath the covers, it's not all well. And so you wonder, where would we go wrong with that? It did feel like a .com era, build it and they will come. We kind of talked about that perfect storm, low cost, devices, sensors, getting near ubiquitous connectivity, price of storage going to zero in the cloud, analytics, just go to apache.org and download them for free, blah, blah, blah. And so it's like, okay, now everybody can jump on this bandwagon. When I was, still an infant doing IoT in the 90s, in diapers, we just had a solution we were trying to build from the get-go, and we built the whole solution, from the firmware, the devices, the embedded C, the radio communications, which was super primitive, and the back-end system that we needed, and whatever analytics. And we built the whole thing because, and so we just had a use case, and we built for the use case. Somewhere along the way, I guess, when economic conditions and technology got right, I think a lot of these big players, and obviously I was involved in that stuff, kind of said, oh, well, we know how to build this stuff. Let's go ahead and build it in anticipation of people needing this, rather than, was there a use case? Was there a customer asking you for something? Was there a burning problem that a customer needed solved? No, actually there wasn't. They built the stuff anyway and assumed everyone was going to show up to the party. And the marketing departments of these giant companies started this narrative that said the hyperscale cloud was an essential ingredient in IoT. And I'm like, well, it wasn't before. Is this just self-serving? Because you want people to assume that you've got to be attached to a giant cloud to do IoT? That's not the case. I don't know.
I think when you look at some of the early success of a ThingWorx, before the PTC scenario, I mean, they just were doing so well, closing some serious business on across all the vertical market segments. And if you think about what they had, it was easy enough to adapt to, and easy enough to deploy, and cost effective, and did what it was supposed to do. So I can understand why so many other people wanted to jump on saying, oh, I could build the same thing and, it'll work. And now you get 600 of them that are struggling to figure out how to go back to building vertical market applications and including their platform, and not selling their platform to do an app. Yeah. So, I think that there's going to have to be some structural adaptive changes in the platform market to be able to figure that part out. I mean, if you are one of the 600 that are out there that are only selling into your niche, your little platform, I think you'll be successful because you're building it around what you deliver to your vertical. The more broader the hyperscale conception around your IoT platform, I think they're going to struggle. I think they all are. I mean, listen, it's not easy doing Azure IoT Core or Azure or AWS. It's not easy. I mean, going to the marketplace and which one do I buy and which one do I use and how long does it take, and then what's the data consumption model look like if I add more and more to it? Well, it's and it's almost like a self-serving, self-service kind of program, right? I mean, you buy as you go along, and, who do you call,
Yeah. Yeah. There was also this notion of it's going to be billions or trillions of devices and you're going to need the cloud or it's not going to work out. You know what? Most of the deployments I see, I could run off a web server.
And you have.
Well, I mean, I think you're right. One of the things that we heard the billions and trillions of devices. We heard the the multiple connectivity options. We heard the 600,000 platforms and everything like that. And then throw in the edge talk. And you've got but no one was talking about the element of end-to-end security and the stages of security as you walk up the stack. And it takes all of those, and there is no one company that can do all of that.
You're right.
It just doesn't. It's an ecosystem, of best in class.
Yeah, it's not Microsoft Office, is it?
No, it's not. No.
I'm gonna buy Lotus 1-2-3 over here, and ME Pro over there, and Word here, and.
Do you think half our audience knows what the hell you're talking about with Lotus 1-2-3, Rob?
I don't know. At least I didn't drop any VisiCalc on anyone.
Thank
from
goodness.
Dr. Brecklin.
Thank goodness.
So, yeah. So,
and I think when you look at that, Bill, you and I talked about this in Austin. I mean, the role of a systems integrator or the single throat to choke company that can really put all of it together in a way that allows customers to feel comfortable that they're going to get what they pay for and get what they need to solve the problem is a big issue. I think it continues because you're not going to Microsoft, you're not going to AWS, you're not going to the carriers. So you're not going to IBM, who the hell are you going to? And so I still think that that's a huge upside opportunity in the industry. If we are going to get to billions and billions of devices, Rob, you and I have talked about this in some of the segments that you're going after. Who the hell you go to? The local VAR, the local integrator to do that? The sensor manufacturer, the edge computing box manufacturer. I mean,
that's a good point.
I still think that that's a big deterrent for us hitting the numbers.
Those folks don't have boots on the ground to do the work.
I mean, I gave at the Channel Partner Show, and then also at the Get Wireless event when I was down there keynoting with James Brem. That there's obviously hundreds and hundreds of thousands of channel partners that are out there, but the average size of the average channel partner in the United States is 7 people.
Oh, wow!
We're doing $1.5 million in sales.
Okay,
and so when you start to look at the idea of going, oh shit, I want to be in the IoT business. Well, who's going to be the champion within a 7-person firm to do that? And then how much?
We're all the champions.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And so you start to look at that grassroots sellability and integration capabilities, on the street.
Yeah.
Who the hell's going to be that? Who's going to do it in Eastern Washington and Eastern Oregon? Is it U.S. Cellular? The deal you did with them. I mean,
that's why we're all going to go work for you, bro.
Hell yeah, baby! Let's go conquer the world.
We're all in, man. I'm gonna like sweep floors and wash dishes at your company. No, that's such a great point. You're right. SIs, VARs, who's going to do it all? Everybody built these systems assuming they were self-service systems, or that the company using them would do it themselves, and just didn't work out that way.
And then you look at Ingram and TD SYNNEX and some of the other larger distributors that are playing in the space, and you go, okay, you might have 75,000, 100,000 resellers in your IT group, but how many of those people in mobility are doing anything other than network failover? Don't get me wrong, I love network failover. I think it's a fantastic industry and a very great way of being able to get into the space. But that ain't IoT that the three of us are into. That's not even close. So how many are we talking about? 1,000 to a couple thousand resellers, systems integrators around the country that can actually do things like this.
Right.
God, we got to figure out a way to increase that base of people that can actually integrate end-to-end solutions, and whether it includes edge computing or digital twin or something. I mean, companies are going to need that in some kind of way, shape, or form. Who the hell is learning that? Where are they learning that? How are they getting that information? How are they getting in touch with all the vendors? I mean, they need to call you guys. Rob, I mean, from a digital twin standpoint, who can a mid-tier, mid-size systems integrator go to figure this stuff out?
No, that's a great point.
So you're right. You got to come to us.
Yeah.
The practitioners, the people that do it.
The people understand and have to try and solve customers' problems. We're still trying to solve the customer's problems. And the more difficult we make it, the more complicated we make it, the more costly we make it, the more people are going to say, I don't need to do this crap.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, when I think about, was that hyperscale needed or not? I saw an article, it was like a venture capital thing. It was, like in the last 10 years, we've seen lots of new database companies get VC money, startups, different time series databases, NoSQL databases. They've been getting a lot of money. And then I read about another one, but it was the opposite of all this stuff. I was reading about it last night, and they got a bunch of funding. And they had done research that says we've done research analysis of all databases used by all companies. I don't know how they did that. And we found that the overwhelming majority of databases don't have any more than 10 gigabytes of data in them. Like most all of them have less than 10 gig of data in them. I know, we're assuming we've got terabytes or petabytes of data, but remember, people are also surprised when they find out that most of the companies in America are small businesses. Just like you were saying, the channel partners are 7 people.
90-something% of all businesses in America are SMB.
And so if most of them are SMB, maybe it makes sense that their databases aren't as big as we thought or have been told they were. Mm-hmm. And so if the databases aren't as big, like a lot of times I may have ridiculous ideas. And good. All right. A friend of mine's going to join here, where it says, hey, maybe what?
Steve is already here.
Yes.
Don't tell me there's another Steve.
There's another Steve coming on.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Well, he's the good-looking Steve, so we'll not be able to know the difference between that.
So this is my friend Steve Cannon.
Hello, Steve Cannon.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
Welcome to the show. This is Steve Brummer. This is Bill Pugh. Steve, maybe you're in the IoT space and you've got some background in it. We've known each other for a while. Maybe kind of give us an intro of what you've been up to or what you've been doing in the past or what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, nice to meet you guys, and thanks for having me in to the Coffee Talk show this morning. I've spent my career in operational data from a brief time in the military, in the Air Force. And then I worked into major industry in the hospitality industry and worked through predictive operations when it didn't exist 20 years ago. And have even gone so far as to use, some of the basics of Deming's philosophies in digital business development for different companies. And so about 4 years ago, I started working with a company that's launched now called TwinThread, and took this predictive background and then turned it into a marketing go-to-market strategy for what our predictive operations and analytics was doing at TwinThread. And about a year and a half ago, I pulled technology out of that to go downstream and launch what today is PulseChecker, pulsechecker.com, which is taking the same scalable predictive operations that TwinThread offers to Fortune 50 manufacturers, but applying it to a sensor agnostic inventory of sensors to go find companies that would never be able to afford nor have the expertise of using IoT in small operations, whether they be restaurateurs or asphalt and concrete factories or agriculture clients. And I'm just turning things on. And I was fortunate enough to kind of get into some of these deep dive conversations with Rob over the last few years. And here we sit.
Yes. And so just to pull up the tie-in here, TwinThread, Rick Bellata has been an advisor for TwinThread. And I certainly remember talking to them when I was at Ericsson. And I guess that's when we first started talking, Steve.
Yep.
And so you got the pulse check. Is that different from your other thing?
It is. First Alert AI. So jumped in. The whole premise is to provide small, medium-sized businesses with the first alert of concern in their operational data as it relates to, be it machine health or the performance of the machine, whether it's keeping something cold or moving product. And I've owned pulsechecker.com, the domain, for quite some time. And this is what I was doing my consulting in. And when I realized over the last year, you know what, this is what I'm doing. I'm not going backwards, and made the decision about a month ago to leverage the domain pulsechecker.com for putting your finger on the pulse of your machine health.
So you decided to burn the ships?
Yep.
And you're not going back?
Nope. It's the only way to go.
So
you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly bear.
Oh, hell yeah. So it was really cool. I was down in Houston, which I'm down there a bunch, and we were at that IoT and oil and gas deal, and Ryan Treese, our good friend from Telit, was there. And Steve shows up, and he shows up with a couple of sensors in his hands. You probably have them sitting around in your workshop there. And I found it refreshing. So what is that? Is that a current monitor?
This is an energy sensor. So I clip this around a power cable, and I can use these to where cables are massive, but it instantly starts pulling energy data off of that equipment and pushing it to the cloud.
So who makes that? Is that one of those Advantech things?
This is a company called Vutility.
Vutility. Okay.
It's called
it's a toroid, right?
I don't know.
Wow, you just dropped a big word there, pal.
You're teaching me something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a toroid.
What is a toroid, Bill?
TOROID, toroid.
I remember an amplifier, a stereo amplifier I had from the 80s made some reference to toroid or non-toroid. Now that we're all electrical engineers now.
Yeah. I used to use that kind of stuff on ion chambers and linear accelerators.
Oh yeah, we're hanging out at SLAC, baby, and at Stanford.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this little toroid thing on your linear accelerator and see what happens when those atoms smash into each other.
That's what we were doing. We were measuring resonance, magnetic resonance, and energy performance through the wires.
I feel
like awesome.
We've all been kind of doing this IoT stuff, and I'd say we've done the big business thing and seeing the value in the small business, and and I think Steve, what I found refreshing about your approach, so much of this is what's the go-to-market look like,
Yeah, and to go back to what we were talking about in the first half of the coffee talk was, okay, Steve, so how does it work? I mean, is it on a database? Is it in the cloud? Is you running it on a platform? Is it a mobile app? Is it,
So think of it as the entire back end is all powered by TwinThread. Every piece of it, and all of the sensors in my inventory, over 400, plug and play with TwinThread. And so all that, if you go to gedigital.com, that is nothing but a white labeled TwinThread. And so
because Predix collapsed.
Another one. The week's not over, Rob.
Yeah. And so all I am is a clone of that same exact setup and just going downstream with it.
Because we saw so many companies going to market with their platform. We're whoever, Amazon, Microsoft, we have a platform and we're going to solve all your problems. You're going to market with the sensor. In this super specific use case.
Well, yeah, but Steve, how's it communicating? Like how's it going? Is it Bluetooth? Is it Zigbee? Is it?
It's all LoRaWAN.
Okay, so you're putting gateways somewhere inside a facility to do that, and you're sending it out backhauling it somehow through Senate or EveryNet or whoever. And then it's coming back to what on the back end? So is it an Azure based?
Azure back end?
Okay, you got it.
Yep. I'll even give a little bit of this, and this is, you guys are way bigger, heavier hitters than I am. To say that I started a company where it was predictive operations in the casino space. So I could plug and play and pull historical data for slots, table games, finance, food and beverage, security, surveillance, hotel, valet, and begin to project forward. And I realized I was in the enterprise software space. And so sales cycles that should have been quicker then took years, and it took 14 people. And by the end of the RFP process, half of the executives no longer worked with that company, and you started over. And so we then pivoted quickly to say, yes, Casino Pro is enterprise software, but we'll come put it in a singular department, solving a singular problem so that you could get a taste of it. And so then 60 to 90 days later, they were asking us for the enterprise license proposal versus us trying to convince them. So with that in mind, TwinThread goes after Fortune 50 manufacturers, and the plug and play and the able to show that time to show value is super short. But what I want to do is go to companies and say, hey, look, just get two. Just open this bad boy up, get your gateway in play, get your sensors operating and pushing to the cloud. And if you want to add 100 or 10,000 sensors, we can scale up from that. And so even to say, like, some of my initial conversations have been with, a company that has 13,000 shipping containers, and they have no idea what the temperature, humidity, or location of them are. And instead of trying to figure out a 13,000 shipping container RFP, we're just going to start with 4. And if they like it, we'll just scale it from there. And so I'm experiencing the same sort of phenomena in some of these other pilot projects that I can pursue. Give them a place to start and expand versus get them to understand this whole very complex platform and success tool that IoT offers, but it's a $6 million 2-year project plan to get started.
So is that the business model, Steve? Is it to start out with more of a POC trial level and get them started, and then when you need to do 13,000 pallets or device, things like that, you kind of move them up to some partner of yours to kind of do it? I mean, Rob, that's where that's what we talked about, earlier. I mean, he's a typical type of guy that's in that, small, medium-sized space that's helping companies solve problems and in a very simple way, not making it complicated. Here's the data. Here's what you need to do. It's solving a problem, and it's cost effective to get going. And if it works, it works.
Yeah. Hey, David.
Had I known,
hey, David.
Steve Cannon Esquire was going to be on this call, I would have showed up on time.
Look at you.
And I love, good to see you again, Steve. But look, it's I love the simplicity of it. I mean, we've cracked our heads in many times before the POC, before you actually get the customer to say, listen, like, I actually have something in my hand that could give you evidence today that this thing could help. And it's shocking how the removal of that barrier of entry, could get, conversations in the right places. So anyway, you already knew I was a big fan from your last shop. So
I appreciate it.
I bow to you, sir.
No, I appreciate it. To say that when Rob and I bumped into each other, digitally through LinkedIn years ago, and then we're able to sit, shoulder to shoulder. And I hear about the struggles of deploying IoT projects. It really is. They're trying to eat the whole elephant. And when people don't get it and they can't see value, it's even harder to get bigger teams of people to rally around a cause, let alone what the priority is and where you can show improvement.
So Mr. Cannon is showing up with just a piece of the elephant.
Yes.
That's right.
Our very baby elephant.
All right.
Exactly.
You know what? All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. All right, right out of Wolf of Wall Street, where I say, sell me this pen. You showed up with that current monitor there.
Whose pen is that?
It's not just any pen. I'm always here to help my buddies.
I better send you more. I better send you a hell of a lot more.
I'm here to help market. Yes. All right. So what does that pitch look like when you're going to a customer? So you just showed us, maybe you showed David again, that you had your little current monitor.
Yeah.
What does that pitch look like to a customer?
And when you and it's a LoRaWAN mini gateway that's in there by who?
Yeah.
Whose box is it, and how does it connect?
Tectonic. This is this is cellular. There's Wi-Fi, but this is a cellular. There's also a Wi-Fi.
But you lead with the actual sensor itself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you held up another one to us at the very beginning where it was just measuring power, right?
So this one I'll give you my push into what is food and beverage. I've been testing the food and beverage market. This Friday, I have a conversation. I'm meeting with all of the sales team for an entire state for a food distribution company. Think Cisco US Foods, but smaller. They cover 14 states. And so their customers are restaurateurs and they're interested in their success. So as I look for these channel partners, I approach this company to say, and I did a similar biz dev deal when I was with Schedulicity, but I go to them to say, supply chain volatility is super difficult for you, especially with a perishable inventory. Am I right? And I already know the answers. Yes, you're right. And your customers not only struggle with ordering and keeping up with that, but if their equipment fails, it can mean that you not only throw away perishable inventory, but then it disrupts the supply chain for 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, and you're missing revenue opportunities. Your salespeople are missing revenue opportunities, and restaurateurs are absolutely missing revenue opportunities. Yes, yes, and yes. So results are guaranteed. You put this box in a restaurant and pay $99 a month for just these 2 sensors, and instantly you're recording data that the Department of Health requires. If every 4 hours you're not on temp, they make you throw away your entire contents of your freezer or cooler. So they buy into it. They're all over it. But if I can get 2 temperature sensors in there and prove that IoT can make a difference for them and save them man hours on reporting, it's just a matter of time before they want more temperature sensors, or they want to transition to performance, to health. They want energy sensors. And so it just scales. It was the same exact conversation with this container guy. And so I can prove that in a short period of time, you'll want this or not. It can be as short as 7 days. It's not a big, long time commitment. And that kind of conversation, it works with any of the conversations I'm having right now.
That's awesome. So you're not pitching
results are
neural networks?
Nope. I'll even go so far as to tell people results are guaranteed. And someone will say, well, you can't say that. What if nothing happens? Well, that's a result. But I guarantee you this, for $99 a month, you have something that's tracking machine health every minute of the day, 24 hours a day, whether you're open or not. And small businesses need that.
Yeah, I agree. And to a lot of us, none of this sounds like rocket science at all. This sounds like, well, yeah, duh. But the go-to-market strategy is the difference, right? We all know this stuff. We all know we can put temperature sensors in coolers and refrigeration, and we've been talking about cold chain for a decade. But your approach to it is maybe what's different, you know? You're the show me state guy.
Yep. I'm telling you, it is as well, I'm a big believer in charging into the problem. What's the problem you're having? Don't hear about how great a platform is and all the cool stuff it's done for other people, as opposed to saying, let's find a beachhead to solve your biggest problem or to uncover what might be your biggest problem that you didn't know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll use a use case. So I put this same configuration into a catering operation on a Thursday at 5:30 p.m., configured for alerts based on known thresholds, temperatures. And Saturday at 2:30 in the morning, I'm receiving the alerts, and so is the owner of the catering business. And by 6 o'clock in the morning, he's already aware that his walk-in freezer with $10,000 of inventory is failing. And by 8 o'clock in the morning, he's now moving all of his contents out of his walk-in freezer into his walk-in cooler. And catastrophe avoided because he wasn't going to be there until Monday morning. And so at $99 a month, if he sees that value that quickly, he doesn't turn it off. You know, people start seeing things that they haven't seen before, and it encourages more engagement and deeper deployment. So I'm a big believer in it.
And Steve, what's your plan? So with these with the distributors that you're meeting, is it effectively to do some sort of a channel partner deal where so they take you to their end customer so that everybody wins?
Actually, and I'll be transparent. Really good partnerships that I've worked in the past. The company is, in this case, the food distributor, or other ones that I've had in the past. They see the value to where they don't want to be spiffed themselves. But I am a big believer in motivating the workforce, right? And so I do share something on performance. And so for me, I'm just looking for these channel opportunities in these different industries. If you scroll to the bottom of pulsechecker.com, you'll see in the footer, there's a couple of target market landing pages there. But if you click on the one that says food and beverage, it gives you some good background history and kind of synthesizes what we've been talking about.
It's such a, we always joke that there's always a couple of really good nuggets that come out of this. So I'm gonna capture the bit regarding my question, where you basically said that the distributor, they're not what they want to do is eventually is solve a problem for their end customer, and that if you have that solution, they're going to embrace it, even if you're not doing your typical resell, sell with, rev share, because it doesn't matter to them.
That's right.
Now you have a distributor that they don't want to become an expert on first alert. No. They just want to make it easier for their end customer to have better performance, which in turn avoids a bunch of screw ups that affects the distributor. And that's the nugget for us in the IoT business, that sometimes, we come up with a thing and we think that if the distributor doesn't pick it up, we're just going to die, when most of the distributors, they're like, look, man, if your stuff works, we'll just take you in, but we want no part of it. That is very, very common, but it's not discussed too often, unfortunately.
I'll give you a use case. So I was when I moved to Montana, it was to start a company called Schedulicity, online appointment booking. Nothing really flashy, but by the time I left, where there were 36 million people facilitating $400 million a month in appointment-based business, and our biggest industry was what I coined as a pink collar. And it was the folks that were booking haircuts and massages and things of that nature that get done on a very short cycle. And so the big distributor in the market is a company that owns Sally Beauty out of Dallas. And so I knew that they're interested in making these pink collar businesses more successful, trying to sell them more product. And they freely admitted that they wish that they could get their providers to buy more product. And so I then went to them and said, look, 60% of your service providers' times booked goes unbooked, meaning you're trying to sell them shampoo. They don't need your shampoo. They need more appointments booked. I can help you with that. And so once they saw the value, they just listed us on their website and promoted us in their trade shows and email. Well, lo and behold, it worked. And we never spiffed them anything, and they promoted us everywhere because it was truly a good win-win-win relationship. So I think if you can find that opportunity and find the small beachhead, you will close deals faster. and I think they get up and running with more credibility short term to provide you more long term chances of success.
Steve, the refrigerator bit, is this something that if I grab your box, like a dummy like me can figure out how to put in the refrigerator and get data right away?
So that's the whole secret of it. And so it's a Trojan horse, a pregnant termite. Like they show up literally configured, ready to go. Plug it in the wall, push the button for 5 seconds, red, 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 blue, 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 green, zip tie it, done. You want to order 100 more, they're going to come in the same way.
8 billion people in the world, and only in IoT Coffee Talk do you hear about a pregnant termite. People, this is the value that we bring to the masses. Right
I've never heard pregnant termite before, but God, I'm going to use the hell out of that. That's awesome. Wow. No, this is great stuff, man. And I think it kind of goes back to, I think where all our heads are a lot of times. I think we've spent so much time in the big co world, in the big boil the ocean digital transformation. It's going to be giant, which isn't working. And everyone's talking about AI and quantum and all that crap. And you're talking about, now I'm going to put this thing in your refrigeration deal. And if it goes out, you're going to get an alert, which is, I felt like, where we all started. And maybe that's where we're all ending. I don't know. And it turns out rocket science isn't required. But ease is required. I mean, the fact, leading with the device, having that unboxing deal, kind of like Apple, and having the device, I plug it in the wall, I push some buttons, it automatically connects. So much of IoT in my world has been so developer focused. So you're going to build this device and connect these sensors, and then you're going to write some code, and then you're going to register it with the platform, and you're going to do all these things. Customers don't have time for that. They don't want to do that. Give them something, push a button, and it connects. I love it.
Yep.
So you were in Montana, and now you're in the great state of Louisiana?
Yep. Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Outstanding. Don't go swimming in that lake.
Never.
At least not with your mouth open.
No.
Is that like the chemical plant capital of the world?
It unfortunately is.
Yeah.
But if you do swim there with your mouth open, don't you get some sort of like immunity to the common cold and the next wave of COVID?
It probably cures COVID, but your life is dramatically changed afterwards.
What is the most famous airline in the world that came from Lake Charles?
Trivia time.
No, I know that I believe that Continental was formed out of Louisiana.
But not out of Lake Charles.
I'm stumped.
Delta Airlines.
No way. Really? The pride of Atlanta, Georgia. Wow. I had no idea.
That's the one I was thinking of. I had the wrong city.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Continental was Houston.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Or yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Who knows
where
these things really start? Yeah, the good point. That's interesting. Little trivia.
That's why it's called Delta Airlines. It started out in the Delta in Louisiana.
Down the Delta.
Right. How did I miss that?
Not a Delta wing?
I should know these things, but I don't. Wow.
Yeah.
Great. More useless trivia.
No, I love that. So, Steve, where are you calling from today?
You should take us outside. Let them see it.
Oh my gosh, there's Lambo, Packers.
Come on, David. You didn't.
Packers.
I'm going to play the NFL history.
Oh my goodness.
There it is. The shrine of football.
There you go. With snow on the ground.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's here's my view for the week.
That's ruined the rest of my day.
Yeah. There's my good friends. There's my good friends.
All your good friends. You're gonna, Vince Lombardi's. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my Vince. Hi, Vince. How are you? You doing good today? There you go.
I love it.
All right, guys.
That's
I
impressive.
gotta bounce, but thank you very much, Steve. I'm gonna contact you. I got some stuff to talk to you about.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Looking
Yep.
forward to catching up, Steve.
Yep, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, peace out. Have a
Peace
great
out.
day.
Have a
Thanks,
great
man.
week in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I'm gonna try.
All right. Good seeing
We
you.
can work from anywhere.
That's right. That's right.
All right, see you guys.
Adios. That's awesome.
Hey, I got
Bill,
to
where are you
jump too. I
calling
got a call with the city of Sunnyvale that I have to jump on.
Well,
Get on it. Nice
Stop
to meet
name
you, Bill.
dropping, Bill. Stop name
Huh?
dropping.
Sunnyvale
Stop
needs
naming
you.
Right after Sunnyvale, I got Oakland.
What I want, you know what? Were you the guy that paid $200,000 for Steve Jobs' old Birkenstock shoes?
I hope not.
Was it you?
I saw that.
That was me. That was me.
Come on,
Oh my
Bill.
gosh.
I figured if I could walk in his shoes, I might.
Worth it.
Oh my God. Well, dude. Hey, Steve, I'm so glad you joined us today, man. That was great.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Pleasure meeting you, Steve.
Nice
I'll
to
talk
meet
to you
you,
guys
Bill.
later.
All right,
Yeah.
man. I guess we'll shut this thing down.
I guess.
I guess we'll go work for a living. Am I really working for a living? I don't even know what I'm doing.
It's hard to say with a cowboy hat and a straight face that you can say that.
All I know is that John Dutton is the new governor of Montana.
There's a new season?
Really?
It just started Monday night. Yeah.
Say less. Say less.
I'm going to say
Okay.
less. I'm going to say less. Exactly. I'm not going to tell you who Beth Dutton beat up or whatever. Stuff like that. Oh my gosh. All right.
Well, thanks for inviting me in, and sorry if I hit the ground running, man. I'm motivated.
Now
about
you just
this.
have
I don't
to-
get a chance to.
Now you just have to pay us like $100 to donate to our charity since you did the pitch for your company. Oops, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. That's how it works.
I'm just kidding.
We'll buy a couple of underserved kids, couple of laptops. It's good for the soul.
Oh yeah, you do have a good charity going on, don't you, Rob?
Yeah,
we all
not
do.
kidding.
That's like that's kind of part of the purpose of this whole deal is this charity we have called Elevate Our Kids.
Yep.
Because we started doing this talk, in the darkest days, in the early days of COVID, when we didn't know what the future held, and we all were in the IoT. But I think it was almost as much of just, hey, it was good to talk to some people once a week, and then our good friend Stephanie kind of put forward the idea of let's raise money. Remember, all the kids had to go home, from school, and then we found out some percentage of the kids didn't actually have computers at home, and so she started Elevate Our Kids, and we all put our heads together and started raising money to buy laptops for these kids. Then, of course, along the way, we found out some segment of these families don't have internet at their home. And so we worked with T-Mobile. Was it Project 10 Million, I think is their program. Anyway, and so to provide, the little hotspot, little hockey puck things, for some of those families. So yeah, it's kind of joined at the hip with our coffee talk is Elevate Our Kids just to raise money for these kids. So yeah, it's been good stuff, man.
Done. That's a great project.
Got to bridge that digital divide.
Yeah.
All
It's
right,
what?
No. Go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say, even being down here in Lake Charles right now, I've been gone for so long, but being in the casino industry when I was here 20 odd years ago, all of the casino revenue was going to be taxed to fix roads and increase school budgets for all these things. And I come back here all these years later and the roads are horrible. The schools are in horrible shape. The teachers are using money out of their own pockets to buy printer cartridges because the school doesn't have printers that work or AC. I mean, it blows me away to see this going on anywhere in America, right? Anywhere in America today. I don't understand how it's possible.
Well, we can do a whole how to use IoT to really fix the politician broken promises.
Yeah.
Right. That will be an inflammatory episode, to say the least.
Yeah. we'd get shut down quick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is so sad to hear, man.
But
So they never got the money.
yeah,
Well, they did, but then the politicians moved it in. They then just decreased the equivalent amount out of the budget and reallocated it somewhere else. So the actual total number never got bigger.
Hmm. We're just going to put that in a slush fund.
yeah.
Wherever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll shut it down. And man, Steve, it's great having you on. Feel free to come back anytime. It's great to have so many different perspectives on the space that we're in and how to go to market, how to sell, stuff like that.
Same here. I appreciate the opportunity, and didn't mean to come in 100 miles an hour on me, but love talking to you guys. I mean, I really do enjoy the conversations that we've had, Rob and David. Appreciate the two new faces that I've met, but I wish there were more opportunities to have these kind of roundtable, real conversations.
Yeah. Well, you found another one, and
Roger that.
We do it every Wednesday. So we're going to keep on trucking.
Keep me in the loop.
I'll do it. All right. You guys
gentlemen. Have a good day.
All righty. Bye-bye. All right.
Do we shut it down the usual way?
Yes. You should take us out.
All right. Folks, you've made it to the end of another IoT Coffee Talk episode. On the same week that humanity apparently hit 8 billion people, you heard about pregnant termites and incredible use cases with IoT out of the box, zip tie into a refrigerator, get value right away. You could only get those nuggets right here at IoTCoffeeTalk.com. Thank you for following us. Make sure to tell your neighbors, your cousins, and everyone else around you. And whether they voted or not, just tell them about IoT Coffee Talk so they come and get some stuff in here. So thank you for listening. We'll see you next week, and be safe.
Be safe. And hopefully the NSA wasn't putting together zip ties and put them in the refrigerator.